Hey guys, it's Tanya from my fancy design shop, and today I'm going to show you how I use my glass pen brush set for Procreate. What I love about this pen, if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I have been obsessed with glass pen lettering, and I decided to make one to be used in Procreate. So what I did is I made the edging of this brush very rough and random. The watercolor brush, which is used here, does have darker downstrokes and lighter upstrokes if you want to get the difference in the light and dark. But let me show you how I use my brushes. Again, it's only a stepping stone. Be creative with it. Find your own way of using them and what works for you and what you like. So let's open up a layer. You're going to pick a color, any color you choose. You do have the option of lettering in black and then coloring over it if you want. But I'm just going to choose blue, pick my first, my top pen, which is the glass pen, the original one. And let's letter a word. We'll go with art. Okay, so you have two different ways of using these brushes. You can just use one color. You also have the option of blending, using different colors and blending them. And that's what I'm going to show you now. So I'm going to show you two different ways on how I blend them. One way is using my blender tool and the smudge option. So let's see. Let's make sure that alpha lock is on both layers. Let's pick a color. We'll go with light blue, and you're just going to color it in. I like to change up the colors, whether it's for each letter, because that's what you would probably do with a glass pen, with maybe each stroke. It really depends on the look that you want, and I will overlap the colors a little bit, whether it's in the letter before it or after it, just to get a more realistic look. And I'm actually going to bring this up a little bit here. And we're just going to stick with these two colors to make it easy. So what you're going to do is click on the smudge tool, which is the little pointer finger on the top right. Grab the blender brush. And what you want to do is also take alpha lock off. And you are going to slightly blend in the colors. I will work with the opacity, bring it up or down on the brush depending on the look I want. I keep the size rather small because if you go outside your lettering, that will happen. So again, there's not a right or wrong way to do this. Just kind of see what works for you. Sometimes I go in long strokes like this, sideways. Sometimes I go in circles. So it's really just to get the look that you want. And with this option, you have more control as to where you want the colors to go when you blend them versus the second option that I'm going to show you right after this. So there you go. It is the two different colors blended with my smudge tool. Another option that you can do to take it a little bit further, if you want a little bit more smoother transition, is turn the alpha lock back on, go up to the adjustments, Gaussian blur, and just bring it over just a little bit. So do you see how like some areas might still have a harder edge because they didn't spend more time blending it, but you can bring up the blur and it will smooth it out a little bit more. So let's work on the bottom one. What you can do, let's grab that lighter blue again. Yep. Let's fill in the letter R. So instead of using the blender tool, you can just go straight to the Gaussian blur, and that will instantly blend the colors. Now with a glass pen, you won't see a lot of water bleeds as much as you would if you're using watercolor brush, like a paintbrush. So you can have it more blended in a little bit more. But those are two different ways. It really depends on how much work you want to put into it, and what kind of look that you want. Also, let me just show you how to use the paper texture. What you can do is make sure your top layer is your paper texture. So you want to import it, and what you will see is something like this. But if you open up your menu and the settings, change that layer to multiply, the texture will pop through your lettering. So you see how the watercolor texture just pops right through. Now what you can do also is, for this specific texture, it's the watercolor paper, I like to bring down the opacity just a little bit, but it's really what your preference is and what you like. Next, I want to show you the watercolor glass pen, which has the darker downstrokes and the lighter upstrokes. So let's grab another color. Let's do purple. And we'll stick with the same word art. And if you can see, lighter and dark colors. There you go. So with this specific one, what you can do is use the blender tool. And if you want to smooth these edges out, you can. You don't have to, but you can. So what you can do is just blend that in. Okay, so there you go. You have a more of a smoother transition with each stroke. You can also, let's alpha lock this, use different colors. So even though we have this in purple, we can let's grab a blue, make sure it's on alpha lock, and you just want to color in the areas that you want. Okay, you want to keep alpha lock on, and we're just going to take the Gaussian blur and blur it a little bit. There you go. So that is with the watercolor brush. Now an extra step that you can do, if you don't already know how to do this, is add a little drop shadow. You don't have to, but I like to do it sometimes when I do lettering. So what you want to do is duplicate the layer, grab the color black, make sure alpha lock is on, you want to fill that layer. And what I like to do with the watercolor brush, because it is a little bit transparent, I will bring it down, tap to the bottom right a few times so you can kind of see it. Click on the top layer, select, hit the black bottom layer, clear. And then what you want to do is add a blur to it, and I go up to about 10%. And you want to drop it down. I like to go to the bottom right a little. And then hit the opacity and bring it down just a bit. So there you go. You have the darker and lighter, the blended areas, a drop shadow with the paper texture. Again, if you have any questions, just let me know. You can find me on Instagram or send me a DM or contact me through YouTube. I'd be more than happy to help you with this. And please make sure to tag me on Instagram with your designs. I would love to see them. Thanks again.